I was wondering if you could make a list of all of the JJK predictions you've gotten right, as I've only been watching you for the last month or so. I thought no one would ever ask. Spoilers beware. First off, shout out to Zach for sponsoring this video. Thank you for giving me the excuse to pat myself on the back. But you know what? I make a lot of predictions in my analysis, and honestly, a lot of them end up being wrong. So, let me just get that out of the way. But here are, I would say, 5 of my biggest correct predictions since I started making Jujutsu Kaisen content. And even with these correct ones, there are still elements that are wrong. But, anyways, the first big one I'll say is that I was able to correctly predict that not only Yuji would get blood manipulation, but how he would get blood manipulation. And for some of these, you might say, well, everybody knew this, and that might be fair, but I would think I was pretty ahead of the curve on most of these. You can go look at the timestamps on the videos if you want to. But the next one is that I successfully predicted why Sukuna looks the way he does, and presumably why he is as powerful as he is, and that's because that he was a twin in the womb that ended up taking out his brother, and thusly got the boost the same way we saw Maki get. I also, assumed that this would be the explanation for his body, because he was a conjoined twin, and after consuming his twin, that's why he has 4 eyes, 4 arms, and 2 mouths. Now, we don't have explicit confirmation on that part of it yet, but I feel like that's pretty fair. Now, I also assumed that Yuji would be the twin, which that's not correct, but I don't know if you'll give me like partial credit on that, considering Yuji has the soul of Sukuna's twin in him. So, partial credit there. The next one is, sorry, I'm looking at, made little notes here. The next one is Sukuna's flame arrow. I did a big video on this, and it wasn't fully correct, but I did in that video predict that Shrine was Sukuna's true curse technique, and the fire arrow was just another facet of that, which those elements were true, and there's still some mystery around how the entirety of the technique works, but hopefully you guys will allow me to take that one. And the next one is this Gojo comeback, which I know I can't take full credit on this, but he technically did come back, and there's still more to develop with this. Sure, we'll have to see how that unfolds, but specifically, the 7 steps north ended up being true. That was the theory that I originally made as an April Fool's Day joke, but then we started fleshing out more and more as time passed. And starting from that chapter, there were 7 Gojo mentions in both flashbacks and just mentions, not including flashbacks, that ultimately led to the chapter where he showed up. So, coincidence? Maybe, but still kind of crazy. And then finally, in the same vein, I made a lobotomy Kaisen theory 3 months ago that was exactly what happened last chapter, with Akotsu using Kenjaku's technique to take over Gojo's body. Now, that was more so a joke. Like, I didn't truly believe that was going to happen, but I'm still going to take credit, because if you watch that video, I basically say exactly what happens. So yeah, I'm going to take that one as well. And again, because I feel weird just congratulating myself, I've been wrong a lot. Most of those examples I just gave included wrongness, but those are the biggest ones. Also going to use this video to answer a couple of random questions, starting with this one from JoJo on how strong would a Yuki Black Flash be? Impossible to quantify, really, because we don't know like how much mass she's injecting on the punch, but in general, I would say probably second to only like a Gojo Black Flash that's been infused with blue. And then from Mark here, does Sukuna have 2 wheels?